conversation with character to reflect on my past and present, aware of character defects.
I'm sorry.
The passion, the power, the purpose of unwoven recovery, unity, service, 1 year token.
The most prestigious network in the land.
This is Character Asset. You already know Character did it. I'm here with Josh Mayer, the founder, owner, the everything of Sound Byte Management. Bro, tell me about yourself.
How you doing? As you mentioned, I'm Josh Mayer. I own Sound Byte Management. We are in our 13th year of business, going on 14. I've been in the business for almost 19 years. Sorry, that's my children beating each other up in the background there. I've been in the business for almost 19 years. I started at Atlantic Records. I was there for 4.5 years doing A&R. Worked with Mano, Dipset, T.I., Lupe Fiasco, and a couple others you probably never even heard of. I broke off on my own in January 2010. Started with some underground artists and invested a lot of my own money into building their careers, and pieced together a bunch of things for them and kind of hoped and prayed that everything would work out. And after a few years, things started to work out. So that was awesome. And I've just, my goal is to get bigger and better every single year and work with different people every single year. And I've done that over the last 13 years, almost 14 years. And I've kind of just worked my way up the ladder. I always say, if you look at my entire roster of clients, you'll see that nobody's in exactly the same walk of the industry. I have a gangster rapper, I have a conscious rapper, I have a lo-fi rapper, I have a battle rapper, I have a DJ who you interviewed recently. I have my political rappers, which are Public Enemy, my Latin rappers, which is Cypress Hill. I don't manage the two of them. I just consult for both of them, and I help run all of their social media for them. But yeah, I'm on the phone with a bunch of them almost every single day. So I'm kind of, basically right in there with the team, and, orchestrating different deals for them and stuff like that. So yeah, I kind of jump around between everybody. And as I always like to say, it keeps you on your toes, and no 2 days are exactly alike. Which keeps, my job exciting, and there's different problem solving every single day. So
no doubt, bro.
It's fun.
I love meeting people like you who are such an integral part of the industry, and you've rubbed elbows with the biggest names in the world, but nobody knows your name. But without people like you, everything the big names do doesn't function.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I honestly, I always loved, I did an interview with one of my interns the other day, and they said, what are some highlights of your career? And I said, I don't even think of them as highlights of my career. It's just when all of the work that I've done equates to something that we were working towards, that's the highlight for me, is that all of these things worked. Because a lot of things in the music industry don't work. Yeah. And so it's a lot of these things don't actually pan out. So when all of the effort and hours and all of the moving parts all come together, and then this actually happens, you're like, fuck yeah, this is amazing.
I made all the right moves.
Right. And this is what it was all for. And that feels amazing. So those are the real highlights of my career, and I mean, there have been tons of those, thank God, because and again, it's even the smaller victories that I consider to be highlights. Obviously, there are some that outweigh others, but I just reached out to a dude, just an example. I saw that he made masks for Slipknot, and I thought that the masks were really cool. So I started commenting on his posts, and then he realized that I work with Cypress Hill, and he's like, I want to do a Dr. Green Thumb mask. And I was like, oh, for sure, make it, and let's see where we go from there. So of course he made it because he was like, shit, this is amazing.
Right.
And then I found out all the numbers from him. I spoke to him on the phone. I was like, what's your process? What's the deal? Where do you shop these? How does it all work? He gave me the whole rundown. I pitched it to their manager. And now, hopefully by next Halloween, not this coming Halloween, but hopefully by next Halloween, there will be a Dr. Green Thumb mask in like Party Cities and Spencer's and whatever across the country.
That's so cool.
But like, it's just like, I materialize these things by like, I consider myself to be like a fun guy. So I'm just like, I just like poke fun with people, and I joke around, and I like pose crazy ideas, and like, hopefully some of them pan out. And like, this is another one of those things that like, hopefully it pans out. But I've done like a decent amount of like legwork here to try to make this come to fruition. And like, Be Real loves the idea. Their manager loves the idea. I just got the pictures yesterday of him holding the mask, and I sent it to the guy, and he's like flipping the fuck out. But like, it's crazy to like, hold on, I don't know if I can I can't share my screen. I was going to show you a picture of Be Real holding the mask.
I'll put it up. You just send it to me. I'll put it up for the interview.
All right, cool. Yeah. But yeah, no, it's like super awesome to like watch these things actually come to fruition. So, again, I mean, who knows how much money I'll make off of that deal? Hopefully a shit ton. But like, just the fact that like I made it happen is exciting for me.
No doubt, bro. You've been in this for 19 years. How old are you?
38. Oh, well, I'm 37 right now. I'll be 38 in November.
How did you get started doing all this at 18 years old?
So, actually 19. Well, wait a second. Yeah, no, I was 19. It was May 2005. I was on my way back from spring break with some friends. I was in my sophomore year of college, and my family did a lot of traveling when I was younger. So I had accrued a number of like airline points with all of these different airlines. And of course, when my friends and I arrived at the gate, there's like the upgrade list, and I got bumped up to first class. And I'm sitting next to this lady who had, at the time, the new video iPod. And she had the newest BlackBerry, and I'm like a tech geek, and I was like, oh, you know what you could do with that? You know what you could do with this? Blah, 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 blah. And at the end of the flight, she was like, you need to work for me. And I was like, I have no idea who you are or what you do. And she said, I'm the senior director of A&R for Atlantic Records. And I was like, oh, I have no idea what that is, but you're absolutely right. I need to work for you. So I ended up interning for her for the summer.
Oh my God.
And then at the end of the summer, she called my dad and said, I know you probably want your son to go back to school, but he has a very promising career in the music industry, and please let him stay with me. And so my dad said, as long as you finish school somewhere, do what you got to do, and if this is what you want to do, then go for it. So that's what happened. I actually ended up finishing my schooling out on Long Island here at CW Post, and I kind of phoned it in. But I spoke to the director of the program on the first day, and I said, hey, I work at Atlantic Records. If you want to call my boss, feel free to call. I don't know how often I'm going to show up at work, or I show up at school or whatever, but if there's any papers that I need to do or tests I need to take, I'll do them and whatever. And I ended up graduating with honors in less than 2 years. So
Wow.
Worked out pretty well.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy.
Yeah.
What are the biggest obstacles that you've had to overcome?
Biggest obstacles, I mean, really starting my company was like a huge obstacle. Because like, yes, I had met a ton of people and like gained a lot of contacts at Atlantic, and like established great relationships. But like, then, you know, it's not like I could just start off with a super famous client because they're going to be like, oh, well, you just started your management company. So I had to like find people that I really believed in to kind of, you know, and I thought would represent the brand that I was trying to create well, and, you know, put my everything behind these guys to like make sure that they succeeded. And trust me, my first year of Sound Byte, I think I signed a duo of producers, 2 different rappers, a rap group with 3 guys in it, and then maybe there was someone else, I don't know. And of those, all of those people, the rap group with 3 guys in it had like a decent run, but they're not household names. But they did like college tours, and they toured with Slaughterhouse at one point.
Okay.
So that was cool. And then one of the other clients was D Chambers, who I still manage to this day. So I've been managing him for almost 14 years, come March of next year. But like, I've helped him build his career into a career. Like when I started with him, he was working in construction and doing like music at night. Now this is, you know, I've built a little empire around him with, you know, multiple businesses and things that, you know, pay his bills every month, and he's got a career in music now. So, you know, he always refers to me as the Leor Cohen to his Jay-Z. So it's like, and I'll take it all day long. I wish that we were as rich and powerful as Leor Cohen and Jay-Z, but maybe one day.
You'll get there, man. You'll get there.
Yeah.
Stay positive.
But yeah, no. So that was like the hugest obstacle, was like going from a no-name nothingness to like, from some guy who just used to work at Atlantic Records and whatever, to like being something that people, you know, desired to be involved with. I mean, I didn't know the Cypress Hill guys until maybe like 2015, 2016. And then I met the Public Enemy guys in like 2018, 2019, but by way of Cypress Hill, actually. And, you know, like, I feel like I got like that stamp of approval from the person who introduced us, that like, Josh knows his shit and he does everything kosher, and like, what's going on? My son's beating my daughter up. Relentless. But yeah, I got like that stamp of approval from, you know, the guy who introduced me, and like, Josh does what he says what he does, like, you know, and you can trust him with your life. And I think I've made a reputation of that. Like, I'm very honest. I'm very straightforward. I am not a yes man. I will voice my opinion, whether it pisses you off or not. I mean, I managed Stitches at one point. I don't know if you're familiar with him.
Oh, yeah.
But I used to say, like, I'm his manager for the term of our contract, but I won't talk to him for like 3 months at a time, because he got angry at me because I told him that it wasn't his best song ever the day after he came out of the studio with the song. So I was like, I want you to record more songs like this, and like, this song just isn't like that, and that's the song that, you know, will do the best for you right now. And he'd get angry at me because I didn't believe that the song that he recorded yesterday was just as good as any other song that he was doing. And like him too. Like I was managing a reality star, which was just like a favor. It was like a family friend favor, because the person who was managing him, he was on Big Brother. The person who was managing him was his cousin, and she didn't know what the hell she was doing, and she didn't know how to talk to these people. And I was like, let me step in and co-manage him for a while. And after like 3 weeks, she was like, don't worry about it. You manage him because you know what you're doing here. But he lived in Florida, and he like ran in some circles that Stitches apparently ran in, and told Stitches about me. And I got a DM from Stitches saying, yo, my manager robbed me, and I heard you're a good dude, and like, can you help me out? And I was like, let's hop on the phone. 2 weeks later, I was in Miami meeting with him. So, and you know, from 2016, I think it was, until 2018, I was managing him. Now, whenever he comes up with new music, he hits me up and he's like, can you help me like run through a campaign with, you know, the album release? And I'm like, sure thing. You know, like, honestly, Stitches and I are like family for life. I have nothing. He's such a sweetheart, despite what people think. And I, you know, I might not manage him anymore, but I'm totally down to help him with his music whenever he's, you know, got a project in the pipeline.
That's what's up.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that's what happens. Your name should precede you, and you know, obviously, that speaks volumes for people.
Absolutely, and reputation is everything. You know, if you're the guy who gets things done, that's what people are going to say about you. And if you're not the guy who gets things done, that's what people are going to say about you.
True story.
What are the most frustrating things you deal with on a day-to-day basis as a manager?
Egos. Easy answer. I actually said this on my interview with my intern the other day too. It's like, sometimes I need to snap my clients out of their character, because at the end of the day, actually the lady who hired me at Atlantic Records, my very first day, she said, I'm going to tell you something that you're going to remember for the rest of your life. Some days celebrities want to be treated like celebrities, and some days celebrities want to be treated like real people. And you need to decide what day it is and how to treat them on that day. And so I've kind of taken that and modified it into, let me snap this celebrity out of their character for a minute and bring them down to earth and say, hey, you know, Chambers throws his name out there all the time, so I'll throw his name out there. But Duval, I'm like, I don't want to speak to D Chambers right now. I want to speak to Duval. And like that kind of like levels him out. But I like to get them to believe that like Josh Mayer and Duval Chamberlain are managing D Chambers' career. So it's like you got to separate them from the character to make them see the outside perspective of where I'm coming from, and like get them to realize that without this collaborative effort between me and them, because I am an extension of them and I basically am them in the public, because like I deal with interviewers and bookers and booking agents and companies and whoever's dealing with them. I'm the nice guy, I'm the reasonable one who like makes that, you know, bridge between them and the character that they're playing. So that's my biggest issue, is sometimes you kind of like need to snap them out of the ego. And let's be real, music is a sport of egos. And if you aren't egotistical, you probably won't make it. Because I always say this, rappers can't be managers, because every rapper says, I'm the best rapper alive. So if you're the best rapper alive and you want to manage somebody else, how are you supposed to go to bat for them at any meeting and say, this is the best rapper alive?
Other than me.
Right. Because that makes you look stupid, and it makes your client look stupid too. So I you have to have that ego, and I commend you for being able to keep the ego and the character going 24/7. But like when you're talking with me and it's behind the scenes shit, like drop the act for a second and let's be real and figure out what the hell we're supposed to be doing. So that's my most difficult thing is dealing with the egos. But I've kind of figured out a way to like snap them out of it at times. Some are more difficult than others. But every day is different as I started that.
No doubt, bro. I saw a couple clips of another interview you had done, and you were talking about, there's been a major shift in the music industry as far as especially independent music.
Yes.
I believe that a big part of that has to do with COVID, stimulus checks, everybody stuck in the house and buying equipment, and nothing but time to work on their craft and learn their mixing and everything.
I will say, I think that actually, like, fast forwarded the process by, like, even though COVID was like, I don't know how long we're gonna say that period lasted for. I don't know, 1 year, 3 years, depending on who you talk to.
I think we're still figuring it out, man.
I think we are too. But I think it probably did a fast forward of probably 60% more than the amount of time that actually had panned out already. I think that the wave of independence started before COVID. I think that COVID enabled people to kind of settle into the ways of the independent wave. And that's my wife yelling at my son. But, it's... Oh, she's yelling at the cat for attacking my son, sorry. But I think that with CD Baby being the first company to allow people to upload their music to iTunes Store back when it started, and companies like TuneCore and DistroKid and all of these companies popping up, I don't approve of DistroKid actually, and I won't talk about that. It's just one of the companies I don't like. I advise all you independent artists to find a better company than TuneCore or DistroKid. And for real, I advise all independents to go to CD Baby. Just because they were the originators of the way that we load to DSPs now, they are not digging in independent artists' pockets, and there isn't a lot of fine print to what they're doing. Companies like TuneCore and DistroKid saw avenues to take money out of independent artists' pockets. So that's my piece of advice. But anyway, all of the digital age and all of these companies popping up have started to provide, the label tools to independent artists. Marketing companies are popping up that you can get a la carte marketing services. Spotify made it so that Joe Schmo can make a playlist that everybody loves and now has hundreds of thousands of listeners, and you can connect with that Joe Schmo guy and say, hey, I'm supporting your playlist, how do I get onto it? Which leads us to another conversation of being the new payola, because a lot of people are charging for those spots, which is not illegal yet. I do have a feeling that in the future it will be illegal, because you cannot pay a radio DJ to play your music on the air. It's illegal. Of course, a lot of it happens.
I was gonna say you can't.
Right. And people figure out loopholes to make it happen, but it is technically federally illegal to do that.
I didn't know that.
And yeah, it's called, if you look up payola, you'll find tons of articles about it. But I have a feeling that eventually Spotify will be under the same kind of fire that radio DJs are under for accepting under the table payments.
Okay. I haven't brought this up in an interview in a long time because anybody watching my full ones are tired of hearing about it. But I gotta ask you about it. Do you know anything about MusicIQ?
I've seen it before.
Okay, I gotta tell you about this because I gotta have your input on it. It's a new music streaming app. Okay. I've been working with the developers. They're in Denmark. I've been working with them for about 3 months. They've been working on it for 3 years. The beta launch was a few months ago. The official launch is November 15th. But it is not a pay-per-stream app. It's always free for artists to upload directly to the app. You do it through the website. And then for users, you get a 30-day trial, free trial. And then after that, you have 3 different tiers of subscriptions to choose from: silver, gold, and platinum. The only difference between those tiers is the amount of validations you get. A validation is $1 out of your payment that you can assign to any artist on MusicIQ every single month. The silver gets you 1 validation, gold gets you 5, platinum gets you 20. There's also friend requesting. You have like user profiles that you build avatars. You can friend request, you can comment. The artists can connect directly with the users and the listeners and message. The analytics don't just show you where you're getting played, it shows you who is playing what songs of yours, and you have the ability to go message those people and build relationships. In 6 months, they're going to start a chart system where artists get extra payouts to top the charts from a swipe-based like system. I believe that if independent artists can get out of their own way and use this app and push this app, especially when they're doing shows and they're shouting out their social medias, hey, get on MusicIQ, shoot me the validation, that's a huge help, $5 a month is the silver package. I think that this is a game changer. What is your thoughts?
I mean, I think that this is the direction that the music industry is headed in. I think that this is like where people can own percentage. Well, first of all, when artists can keep more of their money in their pocket, number one, when you can connect with your fans and build these relationships and like obviously have data more readily available to you, this combination is like where the future lies. I mean, you see all of these deals where people are kind of like, these labels are like backing down on owning a piece of the masters. This is like the first puzzle piece in the equation of giving the power back to the artists. And like companies like this,
empowering artists.
There you go. Companies like this are kind of like aiding to push it into the future. I'm on their website now. I'm gonna check this out for sure.
You should, man. I'll get you on the call with the developers whenever you want, for real. Like we're really building it, and we're seeing traction in a lot of places. There's places we need more traction in. So
very cool.
All right, so let's get back to the normal conversation, man. What is your dream? What's the end goal with everything you're doing?
Everyone always asks me that, and I don't think that. What is your deal?
Damn, I felt the daggers on that look, bro.
I know. My daughter's in her high chair here, and she just screams randomly. She's 16 months old. She doesn't know what's going on. But everyone always asks me like what my dream or end goal is. I don't know that I necessarily have an end goal. It's just like I said to you at the beginning of this conversation, my goal is to get bigger and better every year and be involved in, things that really excite me and interest me. And, hopefully along the way, I mean, like one example is I'm starting a metaverse record label with Bobo from Cypress Hill. God knows where that will take us and what, that entails, because I'm not even extremely well versed on the metaverse stuff. I mean, like I know what it is and I know, how we're going to operate in it, but like we have a company that's dealing with all of the back end shit for us so that, we can like carry out all of these steps moving forward into the future. again, I don't know what that entails and what that, will end up looking like in 5 years or 10 years or whatever. But like Bobo really wanted to like do this, and he was like, you're the man for the job, and I really want you to run the label for me. And let's see where this goes. So I'm 100% for it. I want to try something new. I want to do something cool. I want to move into the wave of the future, and that's where I'm at with it.
Hell yeah. So it's kind of like what you were saying, there's not been particular highlights. It's like when something comes together and works out. So your dream is to be 60 years old and look up and be like, wow, it all worked out. I'm sitting pretty, everything's good.
Yeah. I mean, listen, why are you screaming? What are you waving at? So like, this is really dumb, but like, my wife and I are buying a house. And like, we just went into contract, but like, it feels really good that like, looking at the house we bought and looking at what, the architect is doing to this house, it's like super exciting to think that like, we can afford to do this, and it's going to be like everything we want in this 3-year long house search or whatever.
That's amazing.
But like that, without Sound Byte, I could not do this. So, like just to see like my kids enjoying their life and having a nicer life, I mean, than I had, and I had a very nice life too. I can't complain about my life at all. But like just to see them get to enjoy their lives, and like my wife and I get to enjoy the fruits of my labor, that's like exciting for me. So it's like, and hopefully that'll just get bigger and better again as time goes on. I hope that it'll always continue to get bigger and better, and that's where I'm at with it. So I don't really have any like end goals. I don't want to run the world. I don't want to like whatever. I just want to be like the guy that people know is like an honest dude in the music industry. I'm not trying to fuck anybody over. I go over every single line of every contract with my clients so that they know what they're getting themselves into, including the one that they signed with me. I'm just like, I hope that everybody in the music industry is like me, and everybody who, in the future of the music industry is like me. And I always say, if everybody I dealt with was like me, then the music business would be a lot nicer and easier place to deal with. Unfortunately, generationally, there are just ways that things work. And just like my parents and her parents think that the way that we raise our children is crazy, but we have newer technology and newer things, and like we can throw on YouTube with like learning shows for our kids, and that's it is what it is. But like that's just what happens. Absolutely. Times are changing, and hopefully the record industry is changing for the better.
No doubt, bro. No doubt, man. We're on Zoom, and I think it's just about to run out of time right now, so we'll wrap it up there, bro. I really appreciate your time. I love the insight that you gave. It's so interesting to hear from a manager. I've talked to so many artists, and it's really interesting to hear from these other facets of the industry, bro. And I appreciate you.
Absolutely. Appreciate you for having me, man.
This has been Characterized It with Ben Mayer. Wow. I'm gonna start. I interviewed 3 Bens in the last 2 days, bro. Okay. This has been Characterized It with Josh Mayer, Sound Byte Management. Follow him up, hit him up. I'll see y'all next time. Peace up.
The most prestigious network in the land, the Signature Series Network.